first things that we came to express after we had been on tour and learned a little bit about the personnel at Iambi was they do so much with so very little. Here is an example of laundry. Laundry was entirely by hand. Actually, I think, go to the next one. I think this is probably about an 1845 vintage Maytag because there didn't seem to be any repairmen around. But they washed whatever they needed to have done by hand, and then it was hung out to dry. Now, most of the beds we saw had no linen on them, so it was pretty much gowns and surgical things. There were a couple. You maybe saw one bed that had a gown on, or that had a sheet on it that was in the intensive care. And here's the drying machine. And one of the things that we thought as we progressed through the week was this would be maybe an excellent project for Zumbro to undertake. However, there are some logistical issues that need to be dealt with probably before that could become a reality. This is how they went about drying and then finally storing some of the linens that were washed. And anything that needed to be sterilized was put in autoclave, which was a very vintage machine. Now, with one of the previous pictures, you saw the scrub table, and then also, there's the scrub table, and also around the autoclave machine to sterilize things. Obviously, there's a need for some sprucing up, right? There were many such instances that we saw around the place. So the point is here that we not only can perhaps take part in a project that would enable them to improve hospital, for instance, with a washing machine in due time, but also to be able to spruce up the facility and give them a little more sense of pride about their facility. We saw many instances of needing paint, floors scrub clean, and ceilings and walls that could use a coat of paint would make it look that much better. I have one of the instances where Karen and I were talking with a couple of the nurses that would be involved in the nurses training school. We got together with them to talk about some of the issues that remained to be resolved and that needed to be established before the school could open. And we're going to move a couple desks or tables together. And first one was fine. We went to move a second one, however, and that collapsed and shattered. And I said to myself, I think there's a need for maybe a hammer, screwdriver, and some pliers and some essential tools there. So the point in that is, with the sprucing up that can be done for things like fixing up around the hospital, there is indeed room, not simply for medically oriented personnel, but also from lay people, people with no medical skills like myself that could go there and probably do some really excellent work. So my final thought on that would be, I've been to many mission trips with the youth at Zumbro. Appalachia, Mississippi, Montana, to Rocky Boy, and also to Jamaica. None, I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, has blessed or rewarded me, and I think probably true for everyone, as this trip to Tanzania. What an amazing, special, faith-filled people we encountered there, and indeed, what an opportunity for anyone, everyone, to go to Tanzania and help with Iambi Hospital.
Vern titled this picture, "Two Women Talking with Their Hands." As a child psychiatrist, I wasn't sure how I would contribute, but I do run my own clinic, so I decided my job would be the information systems. And I don't know that that was a term anyone there had heard before, information system. So I got busy with the files. And one of the things, we did run into some cultural, not barriers so much as maybe some streams we had to ford. So we had been asked by the Synod office to check what they called their central supply area. And the administrator said, "You want to go there?" And we said, "Yes, we'd like to see central supply." He says, "Really?" And we said, "Yeah," and now we're starting to be concerned because Tanzania is very, very poor. Supplies are known to get on the black market, and so his resistance began to make us a little suspicious, but we did get to central supply. It was a mess, and we were very concerned, and then later in the week, Bob and I happened to be talking with one of the nurses, and she said, "Well, that would be kept in pharmacy." And we said, "What's that?" And then we got introduced to a whole different supply area, which, as you can see, is immaculate. Central supply is where they keep, we did see many boxes of quilts. Your quilts are being used. I know we have a slide. There we go. We were delivering some. They were thrilled. We also saw the layettes. Reverend Manasseh was very pleased to show us that every newborn went home with the cap and the layette and the blankets that are being supplied by churches in the U.S. But their central supply area also held a pile of perhaps 20 walkers, not in use because, first of all, the average life expectancy in Tanzania right now is 55. Most people don't end up getting to the age where they might need a walker. Secondly, as you can see, they walk on dirt and mud, and walkers are not real useful. The area also held 20 physician scales, and Hillary explained that sometimes I ask for 2 of something and I get a truckload. They have, at the present time, 4 nursing wards. Where do you put 20 scales? So we began to understand some of the differences. Another story we can tell you is we asked specifically about a fetal Doppler that the Synod had supplied when they came in December. How are you using it? Is it useful? And Hillary said, "Well, there's a piece missing." We said, "What do you mean?" And he opened it up and he says, "You see, there's a hole." And we all said, "It needs a 9-volt battery." They don't grow up with electronic things. He had never seen a 9-volt battery. Now, the second verse of that story, when we returned, we learned that the Synod had brought the fetal Dopplers and a box of batteries. But you can see where sometimes the cultural, just the lack of familiarity with electronics, for example, can really stymie them. Go on, Bob. Here we are delivering the cautery. They were thrilled to get that, and we were really pleased because Craig was able, during that week, to use it with Hillary side by side. So we know Hillary is trained in the operation of this instrument now. They want to open a nursing school. And when we first heard this, we about fell off our chairs. You barely have your nursing wards furnished. How are you going to open a nursing school? But what they explained is because they are so rural, as soon as they get people who are trained and have experience, they leave. They're hoping by opening their nursing school with people from the area, they will be able to train personnel and have them stay. So we are going to be working with them to do this. We were speaking about things that you can contribute to. It doesn't matter. As Gaspar showed you, education is such a prize, and I never felt so privileged as I did there to realize that our team raised the level of education in this little village by about a 10-fold factor. College education is a prize. A high school education is a prize. We are sponsoring 6 students in the area. They need $200 a year for 4 years to be able to attend the secondary school. I have 4 of those scholarships spoken for. If you feel moved, please approach me. There's also a student of a teacher at the private Lutheran school who needs sponsorship in order to continue his education. So again, if you feel so moved, please contact the office or talk to me. Our goal was to develop a covenant. It took 4 meetings. We got very serious and thoughtful and prayerful at this time. Vern?
We won't get into too many of the details of the covenant, but we did form a covenant with them and a relationship with them. And it felt really good to do that because it was a promise, I think, to them and to us that we would come back. And our relationship that we started would be ongoing. Just to summarize briefly, what did we do? When we were there, we assessed some needs. We can't fix all those needs, but we can help. And we will do what we can here on our end and also on their end to be able to help them carry out some of the work that they feel like they're called to do. And now we, in partnership, are called to do it with them. We started and helped them with communication. I think communication is such a central part of this. We have good communication, we have good computers, they don't. And I think anytime we can help them put together existing resources and make things work, we will be in much better shape as they try to provide the best hospital care they can. And I think another thing that they shared, that we are a people that, they use the term, we saved them. Now, we try to convince them that Jesus saved them, but I don't think that's exactly what they meant. I think it was a way of saying that you came and you lifted us up, and now we don't feel so alone. Because there are times when we don't know if we can go on to the next week or the next month with a lack of funds and a lack of ability to do the medical care that they so desperately want to do. So they felt like we came and we encouraged them, and we are going to be partners with them now in this process. So we formed a covenant, we're going to do this together, and we feel tremendously, deeply touched by that. We're going to pray for them, we're going to tell their story, we're going to seek out material resources, and we're going to communicate with them regularly. And then finally, we're going to share in the burden of caring for the sick and the poor. And the last thing we did, we met at a worship service, St. Wanzalia, that was next to the hospital, and we sang a song with them, God be with you till we meet again, and they joined us on the last verse. And we close with that at this time.
By the way, I went to 4 verses. We only prepared 1. We sang the same verse, the same words each time, and they all changed the words, but we didn't quite.
Thank you for coming today. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. We will be back, and lots of you might have opportunities to do that too. And thank you. Thank you for being on the journey with us and Iambi Hospital.